Yajnavalkya and Maitreyi, Part 2. Maitreyi became frightened, just as everywhere people become frightened. She said, "Sir, here is exactly where you have thrown a delusion over me. You have frightened me by saying there will be no more gods. All individuality will be lost. There will be no one to recognize, no one to love, no one to hate. What will become of us?" Maitri, I do not mean to puzzle you, or rather let it rest here. You may be frightened. Where there are two, one sees another, one hears another, one welcomes another, one thinks of another, one knows another. But when the whole has become the Atma, who is seen by whom, who is to be heard by whom, who is to be welcomed by whom, who is to be known by whom, that one idea has taken up by Schopenhauer and echoed in his philosophy. Through whom we know this universe, through what we know of him. How to know the knower? By what means can we know the knower? How can that be? Because in and through that we know everything. By what means can we know him? By no means, for he is that means. So far, the idea is that it is all one infinite being. That is the real individuality. When there is no more division and no more parts, these little ideas are very low, elusive. But yet, in and through every spark of the individuality is shining that infinite. Everything is a manifestation of the Atma. How to reach that? First, you make the statement just as Yajnavalkya himself tells us this Atma is first to be heard of. So he stated the case, then he argued it out, and last demonstration was how to know that through which all knowledge is possible. Then last it is to be meditated upon. He takes the contrast, the microcosm and the macrocosm, and shows how they are rolling on in particular lines and how it is all beautiful. This earth is so blissful, so helpful to every being, and all beings are so helpful to this earth. All these are manifestations of that self effulgent one, the Atma. All that is bliss, even in the lowest sense, is but the reflection of Him. All that is good is His reflection, and what that reflection is a shadow, it is called evil. There are no two gods. When He is less manifested, it is called darkness, evil, and when He is more manifested, it is called light. That is all. Good and evil are only a question of degree, more manifested or less manifested. Just take the example of our own lives. How many things we see in our childhood which we think to be good, but which really are evil, and how many things seem to be evil which are good. How the ideas change. How an idea goes up and up. What we thought very good at one time, we do not think so good now. So, good and evil are but superstitions and do not exist. The difference is only in degree. It is all a manifestation of that Atma. He is being manifested in everything. Only when the manifestation is very thick, we call it evil. And when it is very thin, we call it good. It is best when all covering goes away. So, everything that is in the universe is to be meditated upon in that sense alone, that we can see it as all good because it is the best. There is evil and there is good, and the apex, the center, is the reality. He's neither evil nor good, he is the best. The best can be only one, the good can be many, and the evil many. There will be degrees of variation between the good and the evil, but the best is the only one, and that best, when seen through thin coverings, we call different sorts of good, and when through thick covers, we call evil. Good and evil are different forms of superstition. They have gone through all sorts of dualistic delusion, and all sorts of ideas and the words have sunk into the hearts of human beings, terrorizing men and women and living there as terrible tyrants. They make us become tigers. All the hatred with which we hate others is caused by these foolish ideas which we have imbibed since our childhood, good and evil. Our judgment of humanity becomes entirely false. We make this beautiful hell, earth, a hell, but as soon as we give up the good and evil, it becomes a heaven. This earth is blissful. Sweet is the literal translation to all beings, and all beings are sweet to this earth. They all help each other. And all the sweetness is the Atma, that effulgent, immortal one who is inside this earth. Whose is this sweetness? How can there be any sweetness but He? That one sweetness is manifesting itself in various ways. Wherever there is any love, any sweetness in any human being, either in a saint or a sinner, either in an angel or a murderer, either in the body, mind, or the senses, it is He. Physical enjoyments are but He, mental enjoyments are but He, spiritual enjoyments are but He. How can there be anything but He? How can there be 20,000 gods and devils fighting with each other? Childish dreams. Whatever is the lowest physical enjoyment is He, and the highest spiritual enjoyment is He. There is no sweetness but He. Thus says Yajnavalkya. When you come to that state and look upon all things with the same eye, when you see even in the drunkard's pleasure in drink only that sweetness, then you have got the truth, and then alone you will know that happiness means, what peace means, what love means. And so long as you make these vain distinctions, silly, foolish, childish superstitions, all sorts of misery will come. But that immortal one, that effulgent one, he is inside the earth. It is all his sweetness, and the same sweetness is in the body. This body is the earth, as it were, and inside all the powers of the body, all the enjoyments of the body is He. The eyes see, the skin touches. What are all these enjoyments? That self effulgent one who is in the body, He is the Atma. This world so sweet to all beings, and every being so sweet to it, is but the self effulgent. The immortal is the bliss in that world. In us also, He is that bliss. He is the Brahma. This air is so sweet to all beings, and all beings are so sweet to it. But He who is that self effulgent immortal being in the air is also in this body. He is expressing Himself as the life of all beings. This sun is so sweet to all beings. All beings are so sweet to this sun. He who is the self effulgent being in the sun, we reflect Him as the smaller light. What can be there but His reflection? He is in the body, and it is His reflection which makes us see the light. This moon is so sweet to all, and every one is so sweet to the moon, but that self effulgent and immortal one, who is the soul of that moon, He is in us expressing Himself as mind. This lightning is so beautiful, every one is so sweet to the lightning. But the self effulgent and immortal one is the soul of this lightning, and is also in us, because all is that Brahman. The Atma, the Self, is the king of all beings. These ideas are very helpful to men. They are for meditation. For instance, meditate on the earth. Think of the earth, and at the same time know that we have that which is in the earth, that both are the same. Identify the body with the earth, and identify the soul with the soul behind. Identify the air with the soul that is in the air and that is in me. They are all one, manifested in different forms. To realize this unity is the end and aim of all meditation, and this is what Yajnavalkya was trying to explain to Maitreyi.